Israel Adesanya versus Jared Cannonier. Now, as we get going into this, Rich the Casual, our producer, by the way, shout out Rich the Casual, asked you in the beginning. He said, "Hey, the whole thing with Israel Adesanya saying like he's gonna knock him out, and he did knock him out. Why would he do that? Explain, Will."
Yeah, I mean, everyone's trying to knock somebody out, especially a striker, right? It's easier said than done, and it takes two to tango, right? Like you can't, especially for a guy like Izzy, who's generally a counter striker. Um, and going into this, you think stylistically, Cannonier is a guy who does kind of brute force his way in to his entries, a lot of straight shots, but something that Izzy traditionally has been able to pretty much style on and like take advantage of, right, and use it against you, like he did with Paulo Costa, right? Bulldozer guy coming in, bop, 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 until you're on the ground and you're like, what the fuck just happened? That's kind of how I thought this fight was going to go, if I'm being honest. But it's easier said than done. And I know people were kind of disappointed in the fight itself, that it was a boring fight, and Izzy's kind of a boring champ now. He keeps going to decision, all this stuff. But the reality is, the dude is an expert at getting hit and not getting hit, and he continues to hold his belt. And when it's all said and done, his long list of title defenses is going to be looked back at fondly, and people are going to kind of lose that, like, oh, but he was kind of boring, because the reality is, in my opinion, especially in this fight, he was the aggressor a lot more than we've seen in his past few fights, especially in the second round. He was really coming forward at Cannonier, and man, his angles, dude, as he comes in and exits. Sorry that kind of ranted, but yeah, I mean, you didn't get the knockout, but I thought it was a pretty awesome performance by Adesanya.
I think it was a masterful defensive performance.
Yeah,
And I'm trying to think of who else does such a good job at using their distance. Maybe John Jones.
maybe John Jones.
You
Yeah,
know what I mean? But
but
he
uses it differently. John
absolutely
Jones is a little different, but still uses it well.
uses it very well. And he's just a master, man, and making sure that the distance
Hmm.
stays at the distance he wants, right? Through
Yeah.
his footwork, his front kicks that, like you see right here in the one that Rich put up, the picture that Rich put up. Um, the thing that in the first couple rounds that I noticed with Cannonier is that they were taking turns. He was allowing them to take turns. So he'd
Yeah,
come
yeah,
in
yeah.
and he'd try to come in, and then he would stop. Maybe because he was fearing the counter if he just bulldozes his way in, like you said. And then he'd wait for like Adesanya to respond with a leg kick, or respond with a body kick, or respond
Yeah.
with a front kick, or respond with a stabbing jab, whatever it may be. And then he'd
Hmm.
try to go again. So they were taking
Yeah.
turns over and over and over again for the first couple rounds.
Hmm.
And then in that third round, Cannonier starts closing the distance a little bit more, clinches up against the fence. But the times that Cannonier clinched, I noticed it was like 2.5 to 2 minutes left on the round. So
Yeah.
that first half, Adesanya was already teeing off with leg kicks and with jabs.
Yeah.
And so if you're not going to be doing very much in the clinch, and you already gave your opponent the opportunity to score some solid points with his
Hmm.
striking, like
That
is it
control's not
really?
gonna. Yeah, that control's
Yeah,
not gonna bridge that gap, right? Yeah.
exactly. And I feel like that was the case in the third, the fourth rounds where he probably, if he would have clinched a lot earlier,
Yeah.
it
I
might
mean,
have scored him
I
a
gave
couple
him
more
the
rounds.
third. I gave him the
Yeah, for
third
sure.
round. First off, Izzy's takedown defense is getting better and better and better too. Obviously, Cannonier's not like known for his takedowns, but
Yep.
I mean, he's a strong dude. Fought at heavyweight, you know, and was getting in on Izzy, and was able to clasp his hands. But Izzy just didn't go down. Um, and yeah, the common complaint I see about Izzy lately and after this fight is like, oh, all he does is like skirt on the outside and land leg kicks, and then he just coasts to decision off leg kicks. And it's like, I don't know what to tell you if that's what you think's happening. You know, like you said, he's mixing body kicks, he's mixing his jab really well. His leg kicks, I'm looking at it right now. 25% of his strikes were to the leg, 22 to the body, and 51 to the head. So he's going to the body as much as he's going to leg kicks, and then he's doubling that up on the head.
Going to the head. Yeah.
So like, he's not just like, this wasn't people. I think it's kind of like kind of like a meme or like a joke of after the Romero fight. Uh,
Mhm.
this was not that. This was not that at all.
Yep.
And Cannonier, I thought Cannonier fought the third round beautifully, and I was like, ooh. this is where you have to turn the tide. You're down. The first two rounds were clear Izzy rounds. He was popping them. I mean, it was an aggressive Izzy that we haven't seen in a
Yeah.
while. And but then Cannonier made the correct adjustments. Would finish his blitzes with clinching, and that's how you do it, right? You don't wait till the second half of the round to start your grappling because you're already in a hole, right? But from his ability to blitz in with strikes, land strikes, and then clinch as Izzy's trying to do that lean back hook countering, I thought that was like perfect. And I was like, oh man, this is where you turn the tides. You have to take three if you're not going to finish them, right? And then the fourth was like, all right, will Izzy be able to turn the tides back now? That's difficult. But then he did, and he kind of froze Cannonier again, and then that's kind of how the rest of the fight went. But I thought it was a very cool fight. It's not one that I'll probably rewatch, but live, I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah. Again, I enjoyed it as well. I actually rewatched it again this morning.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because it was late Saturday night. I
Yeah,
had woken
I
up
was
at 3 in the
sleepy.
morning. I had to take Mindy and the kids to the airport because they were flying out, and I
Okay,
couldn't go back to sleep. So I had been up since 3 in the morning,
there you
and
go.
I'm watching it, and I just remember thinking like, "Oh man, such good defense," and then I like
Yeah.
start dozing off, and I'm like, "No, no." So I rewatched it, and again, I was really impressed with Izzy's defense, and then a little frustrating with the crowd booing in the fifth
Yeah.
round. And it
The
is what
crowd
it
was
is.
pretty
But even
bad the whole
Izzy
night.
said it himself. He's like, they've been drinking all day.
Yeah.
They've been there all day. He's like, I don't take
Yeah, yeah.
that personal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's also
Um,
like if I'm Izzy, no matter what, number 1 is win the fight.
yep,
Number 1, win the fight because when you're a champion, not only does it add to your legacy, the amount of new names and title defenses you have on your resume, but you also are guaranteeing pay-per-view points in your next fight. That's
yep.
millions of dollars on the table. So you do what you got to do to
Why
win.
not then?
And I thought it was an exciting fight. I thought it was nice to see Izzy be the aggressor in the first couple rounds. It's been
Yeah.
a while since we've seen that.
In the fifth round, Ken Near on one of his blitzes caught Izzy up against the cage, and I think Izzy was expecting him to clinch him again.
Yeah, and he caught
But
him.
instead, he threw a right, and then a
Hmm.
left, and then a right, and he caught him with that combo, and then he clinched him. And I was like, "Wait, no,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
catching him right now." Those were some solid shots. Not to say that he was going to knock him out, right? But
yeah, yeah. But
I
success.
think it gave him a better chance.
But
It gave him a better chance.
that's something too. That's like that's why it's so important to mix in the clinching too, especially when you're fighting a striker like that,
Hmm.
uh,
Gives him
because
something else to think about.
just something else to think about. Because then as he's coming in, you're like, oh, here comes the clinch, and then you get caught with the right hand. Or next time, he's like, oh, last time he caught me with that right hand, guard that, and then he's clinching you, and then so it just mixes it up a little bit. And
A
uh,
chess match.
did he clinch? He didn't really clinch much in the first two rounds, right? From what I
Nope.
remember. Yeah,
Nope.
but
He
the
didn't.
third, man, yeah, he fought a very good third round. Sal Diamato
And
gave it
that's
to Izzy still.
Of course, but
Yeah,
that's what I thought Cannonier needed to do to try to win this fight because
yeah, you
again,
cannot just
Izzy's a master at controlling the distance.
yeah,
And those legs, man, he has the longest limbs, and the way that his stance, where his arms already kind of out a little bit, so his jab's so quick, man, because it's already halfway there. It's just a quick pop
yeah.
right to his face, but it snaps his head back still. So he still
Hmm.
has some power behind the jab. Like he just knows how to use his limbs so perfectly, man, for his weight, his height, and everything in this division.
Yeah,
So just eliminate that.
yeah,
Shove him up
and
against the cage. Make it as dirty as possible. Throw some
yeah,
elbows in the clinch.
and when you are clinching him right there, it takes away his biggest asset with his footwork. You can't if you're pressing him against the cage, he can't style on you with his footwork and hit you, and then you're like, whoa, where'd he go? Because he's
Yeah.
out this way. And
He
yeah,
can't
I thought it was a
style
good
on
fight.
you with his
Yeah,
footwork. The last
it's
style bender.
the last style bender. Yeah,
Richie
um,
Casual loves that nickname, by the way.
yeah. I think yeah, I enjoyed this fight. I think it's a cool new name on Izzy's resume.
Mhm.
And we got another one coming soon. I was excited for it. It
So
was cool.
you give him Pereira. I mean, it's
You
a
got to
fight to
do
make,
it.
right? At this point,
You got to do it.
yeah.
Who else? Right?
I mean, he took out Cannonier. He already took out Whitaker twice. Took out Marvin
Yep.
Vittori.
Twice.
Sean Strickland just lost. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah,
You got to do it.
he's clearing out the division. And if he does get Pereira next, this
Mhm.
is what you want to see in a weight division. You want us to
Yeah.
continue seeing new blood over
New
and over and
blood.
over
And
again. Let's
Cannonier now
continue them
needs
going.
to now needs to fight outside of the top 5. I hate when someone loses a title shot and then they fight like the number 1 contender next, and you're like, what are we doing? What
Maybe
if he
Cannonier
wins?
versus Strickland.
just get Strickland out of the UFC.
No, let's see who
Terrible
deserves to stay in the
matchup.
top 5.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah, I
do
don't
it.
know. They're doing Vittori versus Whitaker, right?
I believe so.
Is that
I know
happening?
that's something that was just recently canceled.
Talked about it. Yeah.
Maybe just
Um,
rescheduled. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. Pereira, obviously, he's not even in the top 15, but I mean,
It will be
let's be real
soon.
here. I mean, they just gave him 4, and he knocked him out emphatically. So, and the history that you just make that fight, make the fight.
Yeah. All right. Well, do we have anything else on the main event?
No, I don't think so. Fun main event.
Hey, everybody. Romero and Will here. Thank you so much for watching that short clip. It's just a small clip of what we covered this last Sunday.
Yeah, if you want to check out the full fight card recap, the link is in the description, and it's going to be on screen at the end here. Don't forget to go back and watch our fighter interviews that we have. And don't forget to tune in live every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, and you can join in on the fun.
Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It goes a long way. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching that short clip from Story of the Fight.